Before the world wakes up and tries to define you, speak life into yourself. Every morning is a sacred doorway to your destiny. Don't walk through it with doubt. Walk through it with intention, power, and truth. Your mornings are not just the beginning of the day. They are the blueprint for everything that follows. The first thoughts you feed your mind are seeds. Plant negativity and chaos grows. Plant division and chaos grow, but plant wisdom, discipline, gratitude, and belief, and life begins to shift in your favor. What you say to yourself before the world says anything is the most important conversation you'll have all day, is the root of outer discipline. So before you pick up your phone, before you look in the mirror with judgment, look into your soul with clarity. These 13 truths are not just affirmations. They are weapons. There are safe words. There are Tell yourself these 13 powerful things every morning and watch your life evolve from within. Number 1. I am in control of how I respond today. This single sentence holds the key to unlocking emotional discipline, inner peace, and unshakable strength in a world that constantly throws challenges, distractions, and unexpected storms our way. Every morning as you rise, before the rush begins, remind yourself that while you may not have control over the weather, the traffic, the behavior of others, or the events that unfold throughout the day, you always have control over how you respond. You are not a puppet to circumstance. You are the master of your reactions. This truth is not about denying emotion or pretending to be unaffected. It is about recognizing that your greatest power lies in how you choose to direct that emotion. Do you let anger run wild and control your decisions? Or do you acknowledge it, breathe, and choose to respond from wisdom? Do you let fear paralyze you? Or do you let it sharpen your focus? Life will test you. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fail. Delays will frustrate you. And criticism may try to shake your confidence. But none of that has the power to define your day unless you hand over the keys. Your power lies in the pause, in that sacred space between what happens to you and what you decide to do next. The response you choose in that moment will either build your character or break your peace. And each time you choose calm over chaos, growth over grudge, clarity over reaction, you reclaim a little more of your freedom. This mindset isn't just for the good days. It is especially for the hard ones. Because those are the days when the weak version of you tries to rise, and it is in that moment that you must speak this truth into yourself. I am not a slave to my emotions. I am the commander of my spirit. When you own your response, you own your destiny. You become someone who doesn't just survive the day, you sculpt it with intention. Every choice becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. So even if the world around you feels chaotic, know this. Inner peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to stay grounded through them. And that grounding begins with a conscious decision each morning to be the driver, not the passenger. And an impact to say with conviction, I am in control of how I respond today. And to live that truth with discipline, grace, and strength. Number 2. I don't chase energy. I attract it by who I become. These words hold the secret to authentic transformation, inner alignment, and the magnetic power that comes from living in truth. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, chasing love, chasing success, chasing the next high of external validation. They run toward things they think will complete them, yet they feel more exhausted, anxious, and disconnected with each step. But chasing energy is a sign that you are operating from lack. It means you believe something outside of you is more powerful than what's within you. The truth is, the most powerful energy in the universe doesn't chase, it radiates. The sun doesn't run after planets, its gravity is so strong that everything revolves around it. Likewise, when you become deeply rooted in your values, when you embody discipline, peace, clarity, and purpose, you stop needing to beg for attention or force your way through doors. You begin to attract what is aligned with who you truly are. People can feel it. They are drawn not to what you say, but to your frequency, your consistency, your integrity, your calm confidence. You no longer have to plead to be seen, heard, or respected, because you live in such a way that those things naturally gravitate toward you. The energy you give off becomes a mirror of your internal state. If you are desperate, you attract chaos. If you are grounded, you attract stability. If you walk with purpose, the right people, opportunities, and experiences begin to show up, not by accident, but because you have become the kind of person who is ready for them. This is the power of alignment. You don't get what you want by trying to control everything or everyone. You get what you're truly ready for by becoming it from the inside out. So ask yourself daily, am I becoming the person who is worthy of the life I say I want? Am I embodying the patience, discipline, love, and confidence that the next level of my journey requires? Because when you stop chasing and start becoming, your entire life changes. You move from desperation to destiny, from grasping to grounding. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to convince others of your worth. Instead, your presence speaks so loudly, your silence becomes magnetic. That's when the universe starts to respond differently. That's when alignment meets opportunity and flow replaces force. So rise each morning and remind yourself, today I don't chase, I attract, not by force, but by the unwavering power of who I choose to become. Number 3, my past is a lesson, not a prison. These 9 words can break chains, shatter guilt, and unlock a new identity, but only if you truly believe them. Too many people wake up each morning shackled not by what is, but by what was. They replay old mistakes, cling to regrets, and let past failures define who they are today. But the past, no matter how painful or shameful, is not meant to hold you hostage. It's a teacher, not a tormentor. Every scar carries a story, and every misstep carries a message, if you're willing to learn. What happened to you or what you did in the past was real, yes, but it is not a life sentence. You were not meant to carry guilt and shame forever. You were meant to grow. You are not the same person you were when you made those choices. You have more awareness now, more strength, more wisdom. And the proof of your growth is that you can look back with understanding instead of self-hatred. Growth doesn't mean you erase the past. It means you rise above it. It means you take the lessons and leave behind the chains. Too many people let a chapter in their story convince them the book is over. But as long as you have breath, your future is unwritten, and you are the author. You can't rewrite the beginning, but you can change how the story ends. Stop allowing the echo of old failures to speak louder than your current progress. Stop believing that just because something happened, it has to define who you are forever. The past happened to shape you, not to sentence you. Real freedom begins the moment you decide to treat your past as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. It becomes your strength when you use it to help others, to build empathy, to cultivate resilience. You are not broken, you are becoming. And the pain you survived has given you a deeper capacity to lead, to love, and to live with purpose. So stand tall in the mirror each morning and remind yourself, my past is a lesson, not a prison. I will not wear shame as my identity. I am not my mistakes. I am not my trauma. I am not my failures. I am a student of life, and everything I've endured has prepared me for everything I am becoming. That is not denial, that is redemption, that is power. My past is a lesson, not a prison. These words are a reminder that no matter what you've been through, no matter how dark the season, how painful the mistake, or how heavy the regret, you are not bound to relive your yesterdays. The past is not a life sentence. It is a classroom. It is not here to cage you, but to carve you into someone wiser, deeper, and stronger than before. So many people carry the weight of what once was, dragging it like a chain behind them into every relationship, every opportunity, and every new day. They let guilt whisper lies that they'll never be enough, that they've ruined their chances, that redemption is reserved for someone else. But those are illusions, stories created by fear. The truth is this: every wound, every failure, every regret is a part of your story, but it is not the whole story. You are allowed to grow past the old version of yourself. You are allowed to change, to evolve, to start again. Growth is not denying the past, it is rising from it. It is saying, yes, I've been broken, but I'm rebuilding. It is choosing to look at your scars not as symbols of shame, but as marks of survival. What happened yesterday may have hurt you, but it also taught you. It showed you what not to tolerate, who you can trust, what matters most, and how deep your strength runs. If you're still here, still breathing, then that pain did not defeat you, it prepared you. The key is to stop revisiting the scene of your suffering and start honoring the strength it took to survive it. You are not stuck in that chapter unless you keep rereading it. Forgive yourself. Not because what happened was okay, but because you deserve to be free. Free to walk forward without the chains of shame or the noise of old voices in your head. Your past may explain how you got here, but it does not get to decide where you go next. That power belongs to you now. So every morning, declare it with certainty. My past is a lesson, not a prison. I walk forward with wisdom, not with chains. I am not who I was, I am who I choose to become. When you say this and believe it, you take your power back from the hands of regret and place it firmly into the hands of purpose. In this moment, when you say this and believe it, you take your power back from the hands of regret and place it firmly into the hands of purpose. And that is where real transformation begins. Number 4, I protect my peace like it's sacred, because it is. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy, your presence, and your reaction, protecting your peace is not just an act of self-care, it is an act of survival. Peace is not the absence of noise or conflict. It is the presence of inner alignment, clarity, and grounded strength in the middle of chaos. It is the still voice that says, I am enough, when the world screams for more. But peace doesn't just happen. You must guard it like treasure, because that's what it is. Not everyone deserves access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. Some people will bring drama into your life just to escape the mess in their own. Some situations will drain you, not because you're weak, but because you're too open. That's why boundaries are necessary, not because you are cruel, but because you are finally learning to be kind to yourself. Every time you say yes to something that disrupts your peace, you say no to your inner vulnerability. And every time you say no to something that threatens your balance, you say yes to growth, clarity, and emotional maturity. Peace is the foundation upon which all good things are built. Focus, love, health, creativity, and meaningful relationships. Without it, everything else becomes noise. So stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Stop engaging in arguments just to prove your worth. Walk away from conversations that leave you feeling anxious, heavy, or disrespected. Detach from environments that feed your insecurities or poke at your wounds. Protecting your peace means you trust your energy enough to know where it flourishes and where it withers. It means you no longer pour endlessly into others while your own spirit is starving. It means you allow yourself silence without guilt, solitude without shame, and rest without apology. The version of you who honors peace is the version of you who sees your time as precious, your mental space as valuable, and your spirit as sacred. So every morning, remind yourself, I protect my peace like it's sacred, because it is. And from that place of stillness, make decisions. Speak from that place, love from that place, lead from that place. Because a peaceful mind creates a powerful life. And when you guard your peace, you don't just heal yourself, you change the energy of every space you enter. Number 5, I don't need validation to know my value. This powerful truth, when fully understood, becomes the unshakable foundation of inner freedom and confidence. And then this poem is the piece of energy that becomes the piece of energy that becomes the piece of energy. So, in the summary, mindfulness, Eidenbeck, in a society driven by likes, shares, comments, applause, and public approval, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your worth by how others respond to you. But the moment you rely on validation to feel seen, you hand over control of your self-worth to people who may never fully understand your heart, your journey, or your purpose. True confidence is not loud, desperate, or attention-seeking. It is silent, stable, and rooted. It's the quiet knowing that you are worthy even when no one is clapping. It's the courage to walk your path without waiting for someone else to say, you're good enough. When you no longer need others to approve of who you are, you become powerful in a way that can't be manipulated. You stop shrinking yourself to fit in. You stop altering your truth just to be liked. You stop exhausting yourself chasing acceptance in spaces where you were never meant to belong. You begin to value authenticity over applause, self-respect over popularity, and purpose over performance. Your value is not up for debate. It doesn't fluctuate with someone's mood, opinion, or inability to see your worth. You were valuable the moment you were born, not because of what you do or how perfectly you perform, but because of who you are. That value isn't given to you by others, so it cannot be taken away by their rejection or silence. When you affirm this truth daily, I don't need validation to know my value, you anchor your identity in something eternal, not external. You reclaim your power from every person, situation, or system that tried to make you doubt your worth. You free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of approval and rejection, and in that freedom you rise. You create, you lead, you love, you live, not to impress, but to express, not to be seen, but to see clearly. So let today be the day you stop seeking mirrors in other people's opinions and start seeing your reflection through the lens of truth, growth, and grace. Your light doesn't need permission to shine, and the world doesn't need to validate your value for you to walk in it. You are enough. You always were. Now go live like it, with your head held high and your spirit unshaken. Number 6, discomfort is my ally. It means I'm expanding. This truth is one of the hardest to embrace, yet it is the key to every breakthrough, every transformation, and every level of growth that leads you closer to your purpose. We are conditioned to believe that comfort equals safety, and that anything unfamiliar or difficult should be avoided. But growth doesn't live in comfort, it lives in the stretch, the resistance, the moments where everything inside you wants to retreat, but your spirit whispers, keep going. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is shifting. It is the fire that burns away weakness, the pressure that shapes resilience, the silence that strengthens patience, and the weight that builds spiritual muscle. Just like a body must experience tension and strain to grow stronger, your mind and soul must be challenged to evolve. When you start to feel uncomfortable, when your routines are disrupted, when you're learning something new, when you're stepping into uncertainty, that's the space where transformation begins. That's the edge of your current identity, calling you into the next version of yourself. It's where fear tries to speak loudest, but where courage gets a chance to rise. Every time you lean into discomfort instead of running from it, you expand your capacity. You become more focused, more disciplined, more adaptable. You start to realize that the goal isn't to avoid discomfort, but to use it, to mine the gold hidden within it. Discomfort teaches you to trust your ability to endure, to move forward even when the path isn't clear, and to build the kind of internal grit that no easy path could ever give you. So when life feels hard, when your heart is tested, when your mind feels stretched beyond its limits, tell yourself, this is not breaking me. This is building me. They understand that what they allow into their mental diet shapes how they handle stress, how they make decisions, how they treat others, and how they see themselves. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret your world, and the lens you choose becomes the life you experience. So if you want to change your life, don't start with the outside, start with what you're feeding your inner world. Speak life, not defeat. Read truth, not trash. Surround yourself with voices that call you higher, not lower. Nourish your dreams, not your doubts, because every thought you feed your mind is either preparing you for elevation or pulling you towards stagnation. And in the end, your future will always reflect the quality of the thoughts you planted, nurtured, and believed in. So say it with conviction. What I feed my mind becomes my future. And then live like it. Intentionally. Fearlessly, and with the mental strength to create the life you were born to live. Number 8. Gratitude is my grounding. These words are more than a soft reminder. They are a powerful anchor in a world that constantly pulls us in every direction. In the rush to achieve, to compare, to hustle, to be more and do more, we often lose sight of the most important truth, that everything we need to feel peace, purpose, and perspective is already here. Gratitude is not just about being thankful for the big obvious blessings. It's about training your mind to recognize the sacred in the ordinary. It's about pausing long enough to see the sunrise and realize you've been given another day to breathe, to love, to try again. It's about looking around your life, not for what's missing, but for what's present. Gratitude doesn't mean your life is perfect. It means you're choosing to focus on the things that are good, even when life is messy. It humbles your ego and elevates your spirit. It reminds you that progress is happening even when it feels slow, that healing is taking place even if it's invisible, that love exists even if it's quiet. And most importantly, gratitude roots you in the now, because the present moment is the only space where life is real. The past is gone, the future is unwritten, but here, now, in this breath, you have something to be thankful for. When you practice gratitude consistently, it becomes your emotional foundation. You don't get swept away by comparison because you're too focused on what's going right. You don't fall into despair as easily because you've trained your eyes to find light even in the darkest corners. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency and chaos into calm. It rewires your brain to look for the positive, and what you focus on, you feel, and what you feel consistently, you become. When everything feels overwhelming, gratitude reminds you of your inner power. When your plans fall apart, it reminds you of what still stands. When your faith wavers, gratitude becomes the whisper that says, "But look how far you've come." So every morning, before the noise begins, take a deep breath and say it. Gratitude is my grounding. Let it steady your emotions. Let it guide your choices. Let it reset your heart. Because when you walk through life with a grateful spirit, you don't just see differently, you live differently. And that shift in perspective will carry you further than any external success ever could. Number 9, I am not late. I'm right on time for my purpose. This truth is a balm to every anxious heart that feels behind, to every soul that looks around and sees others advancing faster, achieving more, or seemingly living their dream while you're still figuring things out. In a world obsessed with speed, timelines, and milestones, it's easy to believe the lie that you're running out of time or that you've somehow missed your moment. Times are waiting for you, but you are missing the moment. But purpose is not a race. It is a journey written in divine timing, not human schedules. Your path is unique. Your growth, your healing, your preparation, it's all unfolding exactly as it needs to, even if you can't see the full picture yet. The truth is, nothing truly meant for you can pass you by. Delay does not mean denial. Detours do not mean defeat. Sometimes the pauses are where the preparation happens. Passing is also much more preferable. Sometimes the pauses are where the preparation happens. Sometimes what looks like stagnation on the surface is actually deep transformation beneath. You are learning things right now about patience, resilience, humility, vision that will serve the purpose ahead of you in ways you can't yet imagine. Your timing isn't broken. Your story isn't late. It's simply building momentum in the quiet, in the waiting, in the in-between. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's chapter. Comparison is a thief that distorts perspective and poisons purpose. Just because someone else reached something before you doesn't mean they're ahead. It simply means their journey required a different route. Trust that your route, though slower or more winding, is exactly what your soul needs to become who you're meant to be. When you affirm, I am not late, I'm right on time for my purpose, you release pressure and reclaim presence. You stop rushing and start aligning. You stop forcing and start flowing. Life is not about keeping up. It's about waking up to your unique path, your divine rhythm, your personal evolution. Some of the most extraordinary callings require longer seasons of preparation, and what's being developed in the dark now will shine in the light later. So honor your pace, trust your process, breathe in the truth that you are not missing out, you are maturing. And yes, and when your moment comes, you'll be ready, not because you rushed to get there, but because you grew into it. Every second, every setback, every quiet day is shaping you. So walk with faith and say it boldly. I am not late. I'm right on time for my purpose. Number 10, I forgive myself so I can free myself. These words hold the key to unlocking a life no longer held hostage by guilt, shame, or regret. Forgiveness is often spoken of in relation to others, but the deepest and most transformative form of forgiveness is the one you give to yourself. Every one of us has made mistakes, said things we regret, acted out of fear or anger, hurt others, and most painfully, hurt ourselves. And while the world may eventually forget or move on, many of us continue to carry the heavy burden of self-blame, replaying our worst moments like a loop, as if punishing ourselves over and over could somehow make things right. But self-condemnation doesn't create change, it creates paralysis. You cannot grow while chained to your past. You cannot rise if your inner dialogue is constantly dragging you back into shame. To forgive yourself is not to excuse what happened. It's to accept that you are human, flawed, learning and evolving. It's to say, yes, I messed up, but I am no longer that person. I am not defined by a moment. I am defined by what I choose to do next. Forgiveness is an act of courage, not weakness. It means you are brave enough to face your imperfections, take accountability, and still love yourself through the healing. It means you stop punishing yourself for not knowing then what you know now. It means you stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to move on, and instead give that permission to yourself. Because freedom doesn't come from perfection. It comes from release. When you forgive yourself, you reclaim your energy. You remove the weight from your heart. You clear the path for peace, clarity, and renewal to enter. You begin to treat yourself with the same compassion you so freely offer others, and in that compassion, healing begins. You start showing up differently in your relationships, your work, your dreams, because you're no longer operating from unworthiness, you're operating from grace. So every morning, look in the mirror and say it, I forgive myself so I can free myself. Let those words wash over you like a cleansing rain. Let them break the chains that have kept you in emotional bondage. You are not the same person who made those mistakes. You have grown, you are growing, and you deserve to walk forward, not with shame on your shoulders, but with lightness in your spirit. Forgive yourself, not because you've forgotten, but because you finally learned to love yourself through it. That is true freedom. Number 11, I was built for this. These 5 words are not just an affirmation, they are a declaration of inner power, divine design, and unshakable resilience. Life will test you. It will push you to your limits, throw unexpected storms your way, and demand strength you didn't know you had. And in those moments when everything feels overwhelming, when doubt creeps in and fear whispers that you're not enough, you must remind yourself of this unchanging truth. You were not thrown into this life unprepared. You were built for the exact challenges you are facing. Every setback, every heartache, every struggle you've already survived has been shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for this very moment. The courage you need is already within you. The endurance you're searching for is already in your bones. The wisdom you seek is already in your scars. You are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece in progress. You have a strength that cannot be measured by outward appearances or past failures. It's a quiet fire, forged in moments when you kept going, even with tears in your eyes and fear in your chest. It's in the way you rise after every fall, the way you keep showing up even when no one claps, and the way you keep believing in a brighter tomorrow, even when today feels heavy. Saying, I was built for this, doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you trust your ability to move through it. It means you acknowledge the storm, but you also recognize the storm within you. You don't crumble under pressure, you adapt. You don't give up, you grow up. Life may bend you, but it cannot break what was built by purpose, and you were not built by accident. You were built with intention, carved by your Creator, to overcome, to endure, to lead, to love, and to rise. Every morning that you wake up, speak this into your spirit. Let it be louder than your fear, and bolder than your doubt. Let it remind you that you are equipped for the weight you carry, the mission you walk, and the vision you hold. You may not have chosen every trial you face, but you were chosen to face it. Because you are strong enough, wise enough, and worthy enough to carry it through. Wherever the safety and security is. Because you are strong enough, wise enough, and worthy enough to carry it through. So no matter what today brings, stand firm in your truth and say it like you believe it. I was built for this. And then walk forward with the confidence of someone who knows that nothing can defeat what was divinely designed to endure. Number 12. I honor my body, mind, and spirit. These words are not just a self-care mantra. They are a sacred commitment to treating yourself as a whole, divine creation, deserving of love, respect, and intentional care in a world that pushes you to hustle harder, numb faster, and disconnect more deeply from your essence. Choosing to honor your full being becomes a revolutionary act. Your body is not just a vessel. It is your home, the only place you truly live, and it carries you through every moment of joy, pain, work, and rest. To honor your body means to listen to it, to nourish it with what fuels you, to rest it when it's tired, to move it not as punishment, but as celebration. It means you treat your physical form not with criticism, but with reverence, because it has endured more than most people will ever see. Your mind is the control center of your life, shaping your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. To honor your mind means protecting it from toxic inputs, training it with empowering thoughts, and feeding it truth over fear, wisdom over noise. It means learning when to challenge it and when to quiet it, when to stretch it and when to give it peace. And your spirit, your eternal self, the breath of the divine within you, is perhaps the most forgotten part in today's world. To honor your spirit is to spend time in stillness, to connect with purpose, to speak to your Creator, to ask deeper questions, to cultivate joy and wonder not just from what you do, but from who you are becoming. When you commit to honoring your body, mind, and spirit together, you stop living a fragmented life. You move in alignment. You begin to sense when something is off, not because of chaos outside you, but because of clarity within you. You start choosing relationships that nourish you, habits that elevate you, and routines that ground you. You stop looking for validation from people who never learn to love themselves, and instead, you become your own sanctuary. You live with more strength, more presence, more peace, because you are no longer divided. Every morning, say it with your whole being. I honor my body, mind, and spirit. And then show it in the way you walk, the way you speak to yourself, the boundaries you set, the goals you pursue, and the rest you allow. Because when all three, body, mind, and spirit, are respected and cared for, you don't just survive, you radiate, you rise whole, you live holy. Number 13, today I lead with purpose, not pressure. These words are a powerful recentering of intention in a world that glorifies burnout, urgency, and the relentless chase of achievement. Too often, we wake up already burdened, pressured to be more, do more, prove more, all while carrying the invisible weight of expectations from society, family, work, and even ourselves. But pressure without purpose becomes poison. It steals our joy, clouds our clarity, and leads us to move from fear instead of from faith. When you lead with pressure, every task feels like a test, every moment a competition, and every setback a sign of failure. But when you choose to lead with purpose, everything shifts. Purpose brings presence. It brings direction, not distraction. It connects you to why you're doing what you're doing, not just what you're doing. Purpose doesn't demand that you rush. It invites you to move with intention, with heart, with soul. It reminds you that your worth is not in your productivity, but in your presence. You were not born to live like a machine, running endlessly on deadlines and adrenaline. You were born to live meaningfully, to create impact from a place of alignment and truth. Leading with purpose doesn't mean you won't feel pressure. It means the pressure doesn't control you. It means you pause to breathe before you speak. You reflect before you react. You focus on the mission rather than the noise. And in that mindset, you start working smarter, not harder, because your decisions are guided by clarity, not chaos. Purpose is powerful. It grounds you when the day gets overwhelming. It lifts you when doubt creeps in. It silences the voice that says, "You're behind," and replaces it with the truth, "You're exactly where you need to be." So before the rush of the day pulls you in 100 directions, anchor yourself in this truth. Today, I lead with purpose, not pressure. Let it shape your schedule. Let it guide your words. Let it influence how you show up in every room, every role, every responsibility. When you lead from purpose, you lead from peace, strength, and vision. You become magnetic, not manic. You become centered, not scattered. Let it shape your prayer. You become centered, not scattered. You become someone whose presence brings calm instead of chaos. And in that space, you no longer chase success. You become it. So breathe deeply, stand tall, and choose to lead not by the demands of the world, but by the quiet fire of your purpose within. That is where real power lives. As you carry these 13 powerful truths into your mornings, understand that they are more than affirmations. They are declarations of identity, clarity, and conscious alignment. You are not just speaking words into the air. You are rewiring your mind, reprogramming your focus, and reclaiming the narrative of your life. Each statement you tell yourself is a seed. And just like a seed becomes a tree over time, your thoughts become your character, your energy, and your outcomes. So be intentional, be disciplined, be relentless about what you allow to take root in your mind every day. Speak these words even when you don't feel them, especially when you don't feel them. Because that's when your soul is most in need of your own voice. Let these truths fight back against the lies that try to convince you that you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. You are more than your circumstances, your past, your failures, or even your victories. You are who you consistently choose to become each morning. And that choice begins with what you tell yourself before the world gets a chance to tell you anything. Be intentional with your morning energy. Don't reach for your phone before you reach into your own mind. Write these 13 truths down. Place them where you can see them. Your mirror, your journal, your phone wallpaper. Say them out loud. Words have power. When spoken, they shape atmosphere and activate confidence. Meditate or journal on one truth each day. Let it unfold new understanding and transformation within you. Cut out voices that contradict your truth. That includes toxic influences, unnecessary comparisons, and internal criticism. Honor your growth. You won't feel strong every day, but every time you choose discipline over discouragement, you are rising. No matter where you are on your journey, remember, these truths are not reserved for the perfect, but for the committed. For those who are willing to show up, speak life, and choose to lead themselves even when no one is watching. Heavenly Creator, source of all wisdom, light, and truth, thank you for this day, for another breath, another chance to rise. I ask for clarity in my mind, strength in my body, peace in my spirit, and love in my heart. Help me to remember who I am when the world forgets to remind me. Let these truths I speak each morning be my armor and my compass. May I walk with courage, speak with kindness, lead with purpose, and rest in peace. Guard my thoughts, renew my spirit, and guide my actions, so that everything I do reflects the best version of who you created me to be. I release fear, regret, and self-doubt, and I receive grace, direction, and divine timing. Let today be a day of growth, peace, and purpose.